Watch the headbutts and elbows. No rabbit punches, no low blows. This will not be a clean fight, so protect yourself at all times. The underdogs are coming for the throne. This is the B-Sides Boxing Podcast.
The breakfast song.
I was about to go on another food tangent.
Well, I mean, I was gonna give it the old cold start, unrelated discussion. Like Nathan, you and I have talked about this on Ultimate Fucking Casual, but Drip, are you on Threads?
I don't believe so. No.
Oh man.
Oh wait. The new Twitter app.
Yeah, the Twitter replacement.
Yeah, actually, I am on it. Yes, sorry, I couldn't think of it for a second. I thought Threads was like the clothing thing where it's into a box of clothes like every week. But that's Thread Beast.
Oh.
I don't know how I got that mixed up.
Thread
yeah,
Beast. I've heard of Thread Beast. Yeah, it's like a monthly box of. They send you an outfit every month.
Yeah, something like that. One of my friends uses it, and I got it mixed up with Threads.
Yeah.
Not related to Mr. Beast?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
That sounds like something that he would do, though.
It does.
Probably.
I can see how somebody would draw that parallel. But we mentioned it on UF Cash, so we have to mention it here on B-Sides. We're on Threads, LDX Media Net, and I fixed it. It used to be just WhatsApp for texting. Now it works on anything. So for the dumb fuck takes that I'm about to give, please feel free to let me know what you think about those. All right. First, intro topics here. Before we get into those, let's do the old dog and pony show here. This is B-Sides Boxing. My name's Leo. I'm joined by my good pals here, Drip and Nathan. Nathan, you may or may not recognize from the Ultimate Fucking Casual. He's one of my ultimate fucking counselors over there. So that's kind of fun. We talked about it over there. Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury. So this is happening.
Shameful.
This is happening. So Drip, start us off here. Like, what are your immediate reactions?
Kind of like how we talked over some beers the other week.
Yeah.
Stupid idea. I'm not a fan of it. Probably some back end like, hey, we're gonna fuck around for like 10, 11 rounds, and at the end, I'm just gonna KO you. I'm sure there's some just weird back end work to that for a big payday. At the end of the day, though, probably not gonna watch it. Definitely not gonna buy it. Not gonna support it. I think it's a stupid idea, and I don't know how Tyson Fury keeps getting away with it. Like, someone stop him.
You can't keep getting away with it.
Reaction in
Can't keep getting away with it.
Can't keep getting away.
You can't keep getting away with it.
Like, I know we talked about it being sanctioned too, so like it's gonna go on their records. Which, I mean, I guess Floyd and McGregor did it, so
Yeah.
Whatever. But I don't know. I just think it's dumb because how are his belt's not gonna be on the line now? How's it gonna be a sanctioned fight without his belts being on the line?
Sanctioned
I
by
guess
the
Miguel's
British
not
board versus WBC.
Yeah. No. Overall, not a fan.
Oh look, PBC's on Threads. Cool.
This really is such a terrible fight because, if there was a chance that Fury could lose, at least we'd have that to fall back on. Like, gets his head taken off, we never have to deal with him ever again. But, I mean, the man went 3 fights with Deontay Wilder, and he's still around. And Wilder boxes significantly better than Francis does, so it's hard to really see this not just being a clown show.
Yeah. I'm expecting it to be kind of like a... I don't think that the script will get leaked, but I think that there is one, that there will be one. Like rounds 1, 2, like Fury's. Oh, I don't know how to deal with his, unconventional movements and everything, and this whole thing to make it look good for both of them.
He's brought the MMA angles into the boxing ring.
Somebody stop him.
There's only 4 angles in a boxing ring, but there's 8 in the octagon. So that's what the Irish people were telling me in Vegas when I was there for Maymac.
I'm just wondering if will Ngannou even land a good hit? Like, I just really can't see this fight ending any other way than Tyson Fury just dicking around him all 12. Even if it goes 12 rounds, I don't know if it's going to go all 12, but is Ngannou even going to land a decent hit at all? Is he going to gas by round 2? I have so many questions, and just the more answers I get, the more questions I have.
I wouldn't be surprised if he caught him with a grazing shot or a clubbing shot just because he fights like so uncoordinated. I could imagine Fury just shelling up and like taking one behind the back of the head, but I don't think it's gonna. He's not gonna. I don't know if he's gonna put him down. I would be surprised if Tyson Fury hit the mat once.
When you said he fights uncoordinated, my immediate reaction was the usual description that I give, and then I caught myself thinking it might not be the best one to say for Ngannou, is that he fights like a fucking ape. I just remember in Rocky 1 where Mickey tells Rocky, like, you fight like a goddamn ape. Because he's uncoordinated, he's unrefined, he just throws winging shots and kind of just overwhelms his opponents with. But yeah.
That being said, though, I wonder. I mean, most likely, but I feel like Ngannou is gonna make it like a dirty fight per se, just real up close, not really try to box, just swing and bang in the middle. If Fury lets him, that is.
He'll probably throw one hammer fist if he gets the opportunity.
Just sneak it in there.
McGregor did throw a few. I think it was just second nature.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe that's the one thing to watch out for. Does Fury do the whole like complete turn away from his opponent thing when McGregor clinches him?
Oh,
yeah. Does Fury do that in this fight?
I don't think so.
This is probably not the guy you want to turn away from, because Ngannou will absolutely throw at someone with his back to him. That's what he's been doing his entire UFC run.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if I want to keep going on this fucking farce. Maybe we can move on to Canelo and Jermell Charlo. Undisputed versus undisputed. 168, 154. I think this one came out of left field, out of nowhere. I think most people were expecting, when we heard Canelo and Charlo are in negotiations, we thought Jermell Charlo, because he's at 160. Maybe it's a little bit of a softer pick. Canelo's at towards the tail end of his career, maybe not looking for the most legacy establishing fights. But he picked the rough and tumble one that's been active and been winning. So I don't know. It's hard to say that this is a cherry pick. Do either of you think that it might be like a soft? Is this a soft pick?
It's hard to tell, kind of just based off what you said as well. I almost want to say yes, because hot take, I think he's still ducking Benavidez. So
that's like a lukewarm take, I think.
It's very popular take.
Yeah, I mean, no, I'm saying like that hot take as in like it's a cherry pick to duck Benavidez and go for Jermell. Because like Jermell is smaller, 154, and he's going to 168.
Yeah,
we don't know how that's going to work for him. Like, he's probably going to be a lot slower. Maybe not a lot slower, I shouldn't say that. But I mean, I'm gonna say it's a cherry pick. It's definitely a nice soft pick.
I almost want to say it's both, because if we're being honest, I don't think anyone would disagree. If we're gonna pick who's the best Charlo brother, I think everyone today would say Mel. I don't think that's a question.
Yeah, for sure.
Who's the most skilled? Who's got the most power? Who's got the most dog in him? It's Jermell. It's soft in that he's bringing a guy up from 2 weight classes down up to his weight class. I assume there's not going to be any kind of rehydration clause. So in that sense it is, especially when, like Drip says, we have guys like Benavidez or even Morrell, kind of waiting for their turn to fight Canelo. They've been waiting for a while. Why are these fights being pushed off? But I really like Jermell. I really rate him.
Yeah, I do too.
I think it's weird because I've never once thought this fight would ever, I've never even entertained the thought of this happening. But now that it is, I'm like weirdly excited for it. This could actually be a very entertaining fight. It could be weirdly close. I don't know how much I'm going to knock Canelo here, because, I mean, this is, if at the very least, it's a way better fight than Maul would have been.
Definitely. So one consideration on the weight part of it is that Jermell, they're obviously twin brothers, right? So they have identical builds, and I think it's a fair assessment that Jermell cuts down pretty significantly to make 154, and 160, a little bit more natural. It's an easier cut, and 168 might be just around what they walk around at, I think, or pretty close to it. Just a matter of carrying power up, being sluggish, like moving around with the extra weight that you're not used to. But otherwise, I don't think this is a matter of Jermell being inflated. like a Mikey Garcia going up for Errol Spence, if that makes sense.
I agree. I'd be surprised if Mel put on any weight. I think you should just come in at his walk around weight. And,
Yeah.
I mean, he's not fighting a guy that's like smaller than him. Like
The Charlos are like
Mel is
6 foot, 6'1".
yeah,
something.
taller and longer reach. I mean, he's not at risk of getting weight bullied. So if he just comes in at his natural weight, I expect his athleticism not to drop off much at all.
I think Jermell's in a win-win either way.
I didn't even take account for his height. I didn't realize how tall he was. That's a good point. He is gonna, because isn't Bivol like 6'1", 6'2" as well?
Yeah.
And he definitely gave,
I
granted,
think-
better boxer, but he definitely gave Canelo problems with this height.
I think Mel is actually taller than Bivol is.
It's possible. I don't know if I've ever looked up or compared the two, so.
Mel is he's got the longer reach, but he's an inch shorter.
All right, anything more on Canelo before we move on to our next point here on the intro?
retirement fight soon.
Retirement fight?
Yeah, for Canelo. Real
Oh.
soon. I'm feeling it. Not this one, but like next 2 years probably. I'm calling it.
2 years. Well, I think that's a reasonable.
Depending how this fight goes, but yeah, I'm gonna say like next 2 years he's gonna have a retirement fight. I know he said like 7 more years of boxing, but brother,
Nah.
after what we saw with not Catterall, sorry.
Writer?
Wow, Ryder, yeah, I don't know why I got those two mixed up. that would have been crazy.
Once you watch one Brit bum, you've kind of watched them all.
That's what I'm saying. Like John Ryder, Jack Catterall. I don't fucking know, dude.
Let me, I gotta read this official press release here. Excuse me. Here we go. So, I wrote this a few days ago, and it'll become clear what day that was in particular. Earlier today, there was a big fight in Japan between Naoya Inoue and Stephen Fulton, the defending champion. It turns out that either Fulton isn't as good as we, namely I, thought, or Inoue is better than we, that is to say I, thought. It was pretty difficult to see a fringe top 10 pound-for-pound guy get thoroughly dismantled like that. The way his chin got hit and nearly ripped his head off was freaky to watch. I was surprised the ref let him continue after the knockdown, to be completely honest. Very similar to Joe Louis refereeing Frazier and Quarry in their rematch and not stopping the fight. So yeah, enjoy that. The old Frazier Quarry
So eloquently put.
Yeah.
Very eloquently put, Leo.
Yeah, so that's what, as we move into recaps, I want to do that one first, just because it's coming off that statement there. Obviously, I picked Stephen Fulton, and wow. I knew Inoue was good. I did. I knew he was good, but holy shit. I did it. Wow, I did not know he was that good. I'm like, god damn. The biggest surprise, I would say, was Inoue's hand speed. It was a foregone conclusion to me that was gonna be Fulton's advantage. If between the two of them, that Fulton was gonna be quicker with his hands, and that was absolutely not the case.
This was like, of all the outcomes I could have thought in my head, I'm like, okay, I could see Fulton winning this by decision. I could see Inoue winning by knockout. I think going into that fight, I was cautiously optimistic that we would see him win by knockout, but I didn't expect it to be followed, or that knockout to follow, 7.5 rounds of complete boxing domination.
Just domination, dude.
Domination.
If you had told me oh yeah, Inoue is gonna outbox this guy, I would have laughed. No, you're trolling, you're shit posting. That's not gonna happen. But that's exactly what did happen. He had made this statement a couple days before the fight, and it's a pretty long statement. But the meat of it was, taking into account Fulton's style, I need to box in a way that denies him the ability to score points, and that is exactly what he did. Fulton, I think a big part of it was his hand speed. I think also was his footwork.
Yeah, definitely.
But Fulton looked like he didn't know what he wanted to do. He couldn't decide on, am I going to try and stand on the pocket with this guy? Am I going to try and box up the back foot? He never was able to get a rhythm going, and that was because Inoue was constantly moving in and out. He was throwing power shots every time they got close. There was no good options to approach this fight. And by the time Fulton started landing a couple good shots, it was round 6 or 7. And it's you're kind of screwed here.
You're way too behind, and you need a knockout, and that's not gonna happen it's not in the cards for you, pal. It's not happening.
Yeah, I think he started picking it up those rounds 7, 8 was it? I think that's when his team was kind of look, man, you got to go for broke, because whatever you were doing earlier, it's just not fucking working. And
he started trying to come forward. I want to say around round 3 or 4 is when he started trying to push the envelope.
I want to say it just seems like they entirely underestimated him so much.
I didn't know that Stephen Fulton was trained by Angel Garcia. I did not know that.
Oh,
I don't know how I didn't.
Ooh, that's news to me.
Yeah, Angel Garcia was so it puts all of like the shenanigans leading up to the fight into a much clearer perspective. Like his hand wraps, we're gonna pull out of the fight if he doesn't agree to our approved methods of wrapping or any other sort of bullshit. And yeah, Angel Garcia is just being himself. Yeah, I didn't expect this to be a dismantling. I wanted Stephen Fulton to win. I believed he could. Similar to, Bud Spence, where we'll get into in a bit. I did not assume that there was, like, very little pathway for Inoue to take it. There was absolutely always a chance he was going to win. I just didn't... Wow, I didn't think it was going to be that bad. Like, even Tim Bradley, when he was talking about his little fight lab introductions or whatever, all of the shit that he said that would be Stephen Fulton's best tools, like his footwork, getting into the pocket, landing what he wants, and getting out before Inoue can fire back, or boxing at range, whatever he wants to do. That's what Inoue did. He took those tools away from him. I think Tim Bradley sent him the script ahead of time, and like, here's what you got to do, buddy, because that's what I'm going to tell Fulton to do. I'm going full conspiracy on this one.
Serious crap! I'm sick of being social engineered. It's not funny.
It's this was a rigging by the Prime Minister of Japan.
I think they didn't realize that the stacking method that they used was actually to limit his power, and they just took the limits off.
That's what I always said about him wearing winning gloves. Was like, I'm not wearing these to protect me. I'm wearing these to protect you. You don't want me at full power. This isn't even my final form. Man. So, pound for pound number 1, I think that's been consensus from the moment the fight was waved off, and I think that's going to be the case up until the end, whatever end Spence-Crawford has. And then Inoue is going to be moved down. Do you agree with that assessment?
I completely agree.
Yeah, he'll move down a notch, probably.
My thinking is that Inoue is obviously number 1 right now. That's cannot be disputed at this point. But obviously Spence-Crawford, holy fucking shit, what a fight.
Oof.
I think that if Crawford wins, which is a very realistic possibility, that he'll be number 1, Inoue will be number 2. I think, however, on the other side, if Spence wins, he'll be number 2, and Inoue will keep number 1. That's what I think that the public at large and like major publications are how they're going to sort of rate people. Just my expectations, because I can't even say it's the man trying to keep a strong black man down. What conspiracy do I put onto this one?
You've been given the green light to create a race riot, to create division in this nation.
My question is, where does Rolly Romero stand in all this? And what does he have to say?
He is pound for pound number 1 emeritus.
No, I do agree that I think should Crawford win, he'd hold 1, and Inoue would go down. And then should Spence win, he'd probably stay at number 2, though. I don't think he'd be number 1 just yet.
I would disagree, but at the same time, I can see the argument for why you wouldn't put Spence higher. Is because he's been in this one weight class his whole career. And it's funny because you would look at his record and you'd say, oh, all these guys he's beaten are better, but you've not done it at all these different settings where there's Crawford, maybe he's fought lesser competition, but he's done it over, a much broader
3 divisions.
Mm-hmm. So I can at least understand that logic. But
Inoue coming up from 105, 108, he skipped 112 to 115, 118, and now 122. So as far as like the pound for pound, if that's what you like, their efficacy in different divisions, if that's how you measure it, then I mean, Inoue. I'm certain that there are certain types of people who are going to say, well, those weight classes are fucking garbage, which To an extent, I do agree, but at the same time, I don't.
Even if you do believe that, he just smashed Stephen Fulton.
Right.
I mean, like, that's undeniable. As like one of the most significant single wins, single performances, I should say, that you could have put out to make your case.
Absolutely. That's
absolutely shattered him.
So that might be the nuance of what I said about Spence being 2 and Crawford being put into the 1 slot. I think the nuance of the results are going to play a big role into that. Like, if Spence fucking bodies Crawford in 4, like, yeah, absolutely number 1. Sorry, in a way, like, you're really fucking good, but Spence, did you see that? Even though Inoue does stop AJ late in 12 round.
Hold up now. I just saw a crazy article from our friend Steven Espinoza. He would like to see Tank versus the Monster.
I don't know. If this was earlier where Tank was still at the 26 to 30 range, yes, but at this point he had already been struggling to make 30, lifestyle choices notwithstanding. But I don't think that's a good idea for Inoue to go up that high to the Monster going up and facing the Monster Puncher of anywhere from 126 to like 140. He's got the heaviest hands.
Espinoza said, "It sounds a bit crazy, but it's only 13 pounds more. Like, it's not a lot of weight or something."
I'm not so sure about that.
Kind of a shit take, honestly. I wouldn't watch that fight. Actually, no, I would watch that fight. Sorry,
I would. Of course.
Sorry, I was gonna say I just don't agree with this Espinoza's take on this one, where it's only like the way he says it's only 13 pounds. Kind of seems like it's so nonchalant and like it's not a big deal.
Inoue himself said that he felt like 122 was starting to push the boundaries of what he could do. You know, and maybe that's just him being modest, but you know, I feel like unless Tank comes back down, which I don't know if he's capable of, to at least 130, that fight is not competitive.
Yeah.
Maybe it is because of the way Tank approaches fights, but he would knock him out. Like, there's no question in my mind that would happen.
Yeah.
Tank would. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah.
And I'm after this pick from Tuesday that I had leading up to Tuesday, it's I'm a few days into learning not to doubt Inoue, which, like I said, Inoue stops AJ in round 11 maybe. But Tank, man, that would just be like a good money fight, I think.
Oh, for sure. It definitely sold very well.
You said I don't know if I'd watch it. Like, if you look at this list of shit that I have here, yes, I'm watching. Absolutely. I'm
totally misspoke on that.
I'm a fucking degenerate. Everybody who may or may not be listening, you enjoyed that audio format. You don't need to see this list of fucking trash that I got here. I need to get a hobby outside of boxing.
There's some hot picks on there. There's some hot picks on that list.
All right, we ready to maybe move it down to a quick chat about Robeisy Ramirez?
Let's do it.
All right, Robeisy, the WBO 126 champion, stops Shimizu Satoshi in round 5. Shimizu was like almost 40, if I recall. He was like 37 or something, and he looked really awkward. The way that his stance, the way that he throws, the entire situation was fucky. It was really weird.
Just the way he fought was just like, does he belong here?
Yeah, he's a jobber, I think, is probably what it was. Oh, he was an Olympic medalist, wasn't he? Like, he got a bronze or some shit, I think, in 2016.
Wonder who his competition was. Helen Keller?
Hey!
Probably.
Hey-oh!
As far as, like, unifications go, so his contemporaries are Luis Lopez, Lee Wood, and the winner of Brandon Figueroa and Ray Vargas, which is going to be Brandon Figueroa. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure. As good as Robeisy has proven to be, I'm not entirely certain. Other than Lee Wood. Like, Lee Wood, that's a competitive one. That would be good. I don't know. Is Lopez the right style matchup for him? What do you guys think?
Before we dive down that rabbit hole, is he even going to try and unify if there's a shot that Inoue comes up and immediately challenges him?
Yeah, he'll do that. Will he fight in Japan again, though, with the Cuban embassy influencing the Japanese promoters?
Tough call.
I think Inoue's got to move out of Japan eventually. I feel like he's He's due for some more.
Attempt
Has he
to.
fought in the U.S. ever?
Yes, I was at his U.S. debut.
I forgot who he fought. It wasn't Butler, was it?
No, it was Nieves. Something. It was a Puerto Rican guy. His last name was Nieves, and the guy was there for a paycheck, and it was pretty stinky.
Oh, gotcha.
Like it was Quadras Estrada 1 was the first fight of that, and then there was Inoue, and then it went to Rungvisai Gonzalez 2. So yeah, those were 2 really exciting fights, and there was this shit sandwich that was the turd right in the middle.
It's a crazy analogy. Shit sandwich in the middle.
Shit sandwich. Very good artisanal bread, and then that turd.
We've got spirit, yes we do. We are sandwiches filled with poo, yeah!
I think he's due back for a U.S. fight soon.
Yeah.
Now that he's definitely got like a major. I mean, he had a buzz already. Don't get me wrong, but after just shattering Fulton, he's due for a big U.S. fight pretty soon.
He did some bubble fights. I think he beat one of the Maloney's. I think the smaller one, Andrew.
Oh, I don't recall that fight. I just honestly didn't see it. Most likely.
You're not missing a whole lot. It wasn't until Junto Nakatani. That was when I saw Andrew Maloney like really tough it out. I'm like, holy shit, okay, so you're not just upside down garbage, okay?
Dude, Nakatani, the man, the myth, the legend.
Yeah. But Robesi probably won't be leaving the top rank ecosystem, especially if Inoue's on the table. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, like thinking that Bob Arum might let his fighters go to other stables to fight or bring in other guys. I don't know why I do this to myself.
Never happening.
Yeah. And the competition, I know that when we were talking on the day of, we were talking about how like the 126 is relatively not good. So as far as the standings go, but like of those champions, like those guys are pretty solid in and of themselves. Like the rest of the competition, maybe not, but calling Figueroa like a shitty possible unification fight, that's just a really stupid thing to say, at least from my perspective.
I think like there's like in their own little world of boxing, like they're a whole separate from like the other. Well, obviously they're weight classes, but like not that like you said it's a shitty like weight class, but I think it's their own separate world. If that makes sense. Probably not, but
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Well, let's move on here. Because of the last time we convened was early June, or early July, excuse me. So there's a lot of stuff to cover, and I want to just kind of breeze through a lot of this so that we could get to Spence-Crawford as quickly as possible. So on July 7th, we had Diego Pacheco gets the stoppage in 4. Second fight in a row, he gets the 4th round win over Manuel Gallegos.
dude, Pacheco is so nice with it.
He's starting to grow on me a little bit. He's he's getting better and better every time I see him. I used to think he was a bit of a joke, but not so much anymore. All right, anything more on Pacheco?
Excited to follow his career, see where he ends up. Like you said, he's getting better and better, so we'll see how it ends up.
I do hope Benavidez moves up before Pacheco gets ranked high enough to face him, because that wouldn't go well for him. But versus anyone else, I think he gives a lot of really exciting fights.
Oh, for sure.
He's in Benavidez' camp, so I'm not sure if they would face each other.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they're both trained by
they
Benavidez Sr.
Yeah,
I think he sparred Benavidez for
Yes,
this fight.
they spar each other a lot.
Oh, no kidding. This guy's getting better every fight.
Yeah. I expect that as he's reaching his apex, that a lot of the other top names will be either aging off or they'll have moved up already. So, and anybody who's worthwhile at 160 will probably be moving up as well, which isn't a lot, but it's somebody. I remember this card having a lot of other good fights, though, on the undercard. Just a lot of exciting stuff, even if they weren't necessarily big names. Let's move on here. On the 8th, on Satru Day, because I can't spell, So let's do the shorter ones real quick. In Metepec, Mexico, Luis Neri gets a stoppage in 2 over Froilan Saludar. There was a 122 fight, and I felt like Luis Neri looked like shit. And if he was saying after or before Inoue Fulton that this fight is my next opponent, the winner of this is my next opponent. And either way that went, he was fucking losing, and he's definitely gonna fucking lose if he's facing Inoue. No. Not only does this guy have Japan on his back, he also has the anger of Japan on his back for Neri pissing hot and knocking out one of their favorites in Shinsuke Yamanaka. So that's quite a bit of fire.
Did you guys see that Inoue's manager specifically named Neri as a potential opponent after Tapales?
Yeah, I did. And I'm curious because if I recall correctly, Neri has at the least a ban for life from boxing in Japan. I don't know if he's banned from entering Japan.
Dude, what a scrub.
It was the old tainted meat situation. So he says.
The Mexican beef, as they call it.
Yeah. At the AT&T Center in Texas, this was in Santone. Is that where the AT&T Center is?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, in Santone. I read that on the internet and I wanted to say it, so there you go. Virgil Ortiz had serious health problems and was taken to the hospital, so his fight with Imantas Stanionis was canceled for, I think this was like the second time. Virgil Ortiz continues to have health issues. This is it's pretty concerning. I think.
What was the issue this time? The health issue? What did they say?
I don't know. I just recall them saying like he passed out. I don't recall what else after that, to be honest with you. I just know that he passed out.
I gotta look up real quick. I'm curious.
I can't remember the name of it, but it's some sort of, I don't know if it's a heart disorder.
That's right.
Rhabdomyolysis.
This issue that he's having is either a result, or like that rhabdo thing is a result of it. It is a side effect of a particular performance enhancing substance.
Oh,
take that to mean what you will. I'm not saying that he's doing that.
The plot thickens.
Yeah, but that's what it is. Is like, okay, so he either has a legit medical condition, which I really hope he doesn't, or if he does, I hope he gets better, or he's using and he's suffering the consequences of it. In which case, I say, I hope you don't die. I hope you don't box.
It looks like it's a kidney problem.
I'll be real. I'll just come out and say it. He is 100% doping or doing something, because immediately, this is not the first time this has happened. This is the second time. And the stuff not a doctor, but the stuff I've read about rhabdo, it's not like something that just reoccurs. And you saw a bunch of people that were in his camp or in like boxing media framing it as like, oh man, this rare health condition just re-flared up. And it's like,
oh yeah,
it's like it was like listening to the whole picogram thing with John Jones over in the UFC. Oh, it just flared back up. This chemical that he took years ago just suddenly came back. It was stored in his body for years and years. It's like, no, he was on something again. And we're trying to cope for him.
I typically have the same results as John Jones when I use gas station male enhancement pills. So I totally get it. I don't know why we're vilifying John Jones here.
I have a huge cock, Joe.
I'm joking. Yeah, this is more to me. I agree. More likely than not, this is the result of continued prohibited substance use. But it's unfortunate that we lose one of the foils, one of the possible top contenders of the next generation of welterweights. The rest of the card was like nothing special. They moved up Floyd Schofield, who's a local guy. He gets a UD over Haskell Rhodes. Those are lightweights. Joseph Diaz. Yeah, UD over Jerry Perez. I'm trying to think of a good diddler sort of pun, but I can't figure one out. So JoJo's a fucking diddler.
He's definitely trying some diddling.
Marlon Esparza, majority decision over Gabriela Alanis. This was a unification fight for Esparza's WBA, WBC, and Alanis WBO. So, speaking of the next generation of welterweights, Jaron Ennis at the ballroom in Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. So Jaron Ennis stops Royman Villa in 10. Let's go from the bottom up of the card here real quick, just to build some allure. Edwin De Los Santos gets a UD over Joseph Adorno. This was a lightweight fight. I have shed my last tear for Adorno. I've really tried riding for him hard, but pause, I guess. But I've really tried.
Hey, yo!
I've really tried conducting the train for the Adorno train a little bit, and it's not been working. De Los Santos continues to prove that he's, at the very least, he's at the bottom of the ladder, and he's going to be keeping everybody else from climbing up.
He's definitely making a ruckus. Like, his name's getting out there a little more now.
I don't remember. Yoelvis Gomez drops the ball against Marquise Taylor. I recall that Yoelvis is he was like the quote-unquote house fighter, and he drops the ball on a huge card. But the meat of the dish, Jaron Ennis over Royman Villa. We talked about this on the last Ultimate Casual, where we were talking about switch hitting, and I mentioned Jaron Ennis, and the parallels that I drew for that were Max Holloway in UFC and his ability to, like, his standard operating baseline is switch hitting, and that is a very special talent. It takes a lot of IQ to do that, and this conversation includes Terence Crawford. Now, we'll get to Crawford in a bit, but Jaron Ennis, holy shit. Just when you think he cannot impress anymore, he turns in this. Has anyone heard from Villa since? Is he still alive?
Don't recall hearing anything. It's been quiet.
I'm sure he's fine. Just
I think they held a private funeral just out of the respect of the family.
Oh man, I honestly, of the next crop, I don't see it now that Virgil is probably out of the picture. I don't know if there's anyone that even presents a possibility of an interesting fight with Jaron Ennis.
I'll push back a little bit. I think Stanionis would be able to do something. I would not pick him to win, but that fight would not be like a shutout like this one was.
True. Okay. That's fair. Stanionis is that rough and tumble come forward type, but he's also really smart. So he could make that work.
I was going to say, because Villa had, like, and I use this very lightly, some very, very slight success what looked like kind of inside the pocket a little bit. So
yeah.
Stanionis could kind of do that with Ennis. I don't think he'd win still, but it'd make it a more competitive fight for sure.
Regardless, the options are pretty limited for Ennis here. So 147's probably always going to be the glamour division. So I don't even if we consider the guys at 140 moving up, I'm not entirely certain that I see a whole lot that's going to give Ennis fits. I really don't.
Dude, Ennis makes me want to go move to Philly and start training over there. Granted, it's only like an hour and a half for me, so it wouldn't be anything crazy. But
there's something in the water in Philly.
There is, man. There is for sure.
The stuff over in West Philadelphia is a lot worse.
Oh,
but, we don't need to talk about that.
It's all the cheesesteaks.
Don't do this to me. What? In West Philadelphia, born and raised, Stephen Fulton went to Japan and got dazed. I don't know if that works.
Oh no. Oh heavens. I'm calling the police.
Anything more on Ennis before we keep trucking here?
I actually have one fight to float.
Sure.
I think this could be I'm not floating this fight as a losable fight for Ennis, but more of just a rival fight. Do you think PBC gives him Keith Thurman? Because it's very possible that after the main event on Saturday, that both Spence and Crawford won't be around in this division, or won't be long for it.
Yeah. If Thurman's still there,
I thought he retired, honestly.
He's kind of like sitting around because of the success that he had previously, which includes obviously good paychecks, he's kind of like sitting on the outside waiting for the big opportunities to be presented to him, as if he still has enough clout to have that sort of expectation. Jaron Ennis, because he's like the young hungry lion trademark, he's probably going to be willing to come to the table with Thurman and like, yeah, I'll give you whatever you want. Like Inoue did with Fulton. I'll give you whatever the fuck you want, as long as you get in the ring. Whatever you need. What's going to make you feel better? Because I'm about to put these hands on you.
Yeah, I could see it happening then. I think that would be a fantastic name on Ennis' resume.
Absolutely. Man, Thurman.
I forgot all about him, not gonna lie. I honestly thought he retired.
It's funny because he was in the running for Spence before
he was.
Before the Crawford fight got signed.
The first negotiations towards the end of 22, when those collapsed, Spence Thurman was on the table.
The only reason that fight didn't happen was because Spence got in that like fender bender, and they wanted to give him like 2 months to recover. And in that time, they ended up making the Bud fight instead.
That's convenient. I'm gonna say Al Heyman had something to do with that. Fucking puppet
Al
master.
Heyman was driving the car behind.
Yep, he caused the fender
Over here at
bender.
Spence real quick.
Yeah. Hey Spence, go
He
to
survived one car crash. He can take this one too.
go to Target real quick. I'm gonna crash into
The
you.
first one was not. First one wasn't even a car crash. That shit was just fucking annihilation of his car.
Fast and
Wasn't
the
it
Furious
pieces?
type of shit. He did a couple flips.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. As he put it, quote, "I'm a savage," end quote.
I don't know if that was the right word to use, but go off, Spence.
Let's
I'm
move
not
on.
gonna tell him no.
Yeah, I can't say no. Let's move on to July 15th. Really quick, Josh Kelly, ranked third in the WBO, gets a UD over Gabriel Corzo. This is a 154 fight. Just, if Jermell's going to move, if he's going to be going up to fight Canelo, in the off chance he wins, he's the 168 champ, the 154 belts are going to be dispersed, which is going to elevate Tim Tszyu, and that means Josh Kelly is one of the first up as a defense for that. Or even if Tim Tszyu's content with being interim champion for now, then Josh Kelly's still one of the upcoming guys. So there you go. All right, that was the only fight from that card I wanted to mention. Let's go to Detroit, where Andy Cruz and Alicia Baumgartner took care of business that night. Jermaine Franklin, surprisingly, to me surprising, he had a fight on that one. He got a UD over Isaac Gutierrez. So Andy Cruz debuts lightweight. He's another one of those amateur phenoms. If I'm not mistaken, this is the guy who beat Keyshawn Davis. I know for sure he beat Keyshawn. So like, while you guys are doing a little fact checking there, Andy Cruz gets a UD over Juan Burgos. Burgos, as I recall, is the guy when Mikey Garcia was coming off his layoff and he debuted with PBC. Juan Carlos Burgos was the guy that they brought out. It was a 140 fight for them, and Mikey didn't get the stoppage. Somebody else of note fought Burgos. It was Devin Haney, and did not get the stoppage. Neither did Andy Cruz, which, I mean, apparently Burgos is super tough, so take that for what you will. Man, this division continues to get more and more stacked. Even though he's relatively new, young in his career, he's not bad. I think he still has a little bit of transitioning to do from the amateur style of fighting to professional, but he does have the prowess to give a lot of anybody standing in his way from getting to the top where title contention is starting to happen. I don't see a lot of people giving Andy Cruz trouble.
The person I especially don't see giving him any trouble is Keyshawn Davis, because not only has he lost, he's beaten Keyshawn 4 times.
Oh, that's Keyshawn's arch nemesis right there.
Yeah, that might make him a little emotional if they were to mix it up in the pros.
Yeah, twice in 2019, 3 times in 2019. I don't know what was going on then. The AIBA World Championships, I guess, is where that happened.
So it looks like Keyshawn Davis said that Andy Cruz had an average debut. Was anything special? So.
Oh boy.
Oh, he's getting salty.
Yeah, he is, because Keyshawn's wasn't very good either. But what do I know?
Hold on. Andy Cruz responds to Davis. I'll beat you up a 5th time.
There can be only one.
Oh, that's a fight to happen.
Yeah, you can't not make that.
Oh, they have to make that happen. I mean, not to go too off topic either, but Keyshawn Davis, I know we're approaching that name. I mean, I guess we could touch on that later, but yeah, I mean,
we
what's
will
going to be next for
moment.
him?
We will be talking about Keyshawn in a second.
Oh, yes.
Partially unrelated, but what are they putting in the water at lightweight? Like, there have been so many, like, A-plus prospects coming out of lightweight in the last, like, 5 years.
I think it's just a hot division, honestly. And it'd probably always be a hot division, too.
Pretty much any division that has super or light or junior at the beginning as a prefix, those are the kind of the baloney Passover divisions. Like the traditional ones are where people typically hang out when they want to actually do stuff. Like a lightweight. Featherweight, 130 is like 135, obviously. 140, 147, obviously.
Yeah.
I think a notable exception is super middleweight, but that's just because Canelo's there.
And what do they call it? Is it super welterweight? Super welterweight versus middleweight?
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you want to call it. 154, 160.
Yeah, middleweight is one of the traditional ones that sucks. But the big money is either at 68 or 54. So like what be like Carlos Adames and just be a big fish in a little pond. Alicia Baumgartner, UD over Christina Leonardatu. This was an undisputed fight for super featherweight, so congrats to her. And on the 22nd, we had in the very prestigious Fire Lake Arena in Shawnee, Oklahoma, George Kambosos.
Bosos, more Bosos, baby.
More Bosos. Let's go from the bottom up here. Troy Isley. Every time I've seen him, which has always been on untelevised portions, unfortunately, he's like his improvement hasn't been as quick as, let's say, Keyshawn Davis or like Shakur Stevenson a few years ago. But he's still making moves. He's still doing what he needs to do. He's getting the experience. I'm still happy to see Troy Isley on the grind. So I hope he keeps getting the wins. I don't remember why I have listed Giovanni Santillan, gets the UD over Eric Bonet, but that happened. Keyshawn Davis, UD over Francesco Patera. This was lightweights. So Keyshawn is his old nemesis is back. It's like you can't fucking escape him.
Love it. I love the lore.
Yeah, the history between the two is really cool. Andy Cruz is gonna catch up to him real quick. It's not even gonna be. It's not if they're gonna fight again. It's when.
I mean, so what's next for Davis? Like, how many more fights until we kind of start putting him at that
the contention level?
Yeah, contention level.
Well, let's see.
It really depends on how quick Top Rank wants to fast track him, because that's really the only limiting factor. Is he going to get ranked opponents? Actually,
I could have sworn they were trying to like fast track him. I thought they were, at least. I could be wrong.
Yeah, Top Rank tends to do that. So, Keyshawn Davis, this is box rec, so take it with a fucking 5-gallon jug of salt. Keyshawn's at 24, so I'm just gonna give you his path to 15. Kid Galahad, Shuma Nakazato, Jojo Diaz, Michel Rivera, Edwin De Los Santos, Mercito Gesta, Russian guy Albert Batir Gaziev, Nakatila, and Maxie Hughes.
Now, De Los Santos, Keyshawn could be a good fight.
Yes. Michel too. Rivera's not bad. Not a bad name.
I don't think Jojo Diaz would be a very fun fight for him. I don't think it'd be a fun fight for Jojo Diaz. There we go. I think Keyshawn would probably spark him.
It would be fun for me, because I would very much like to watch a diddler get his ass beat.
100%.
Nakatila is something that Top Rank could definitely make, and Nakatila is one of those guys he's been through the Top Rank ecosystem, so he has that. I don't know if prestige is the right word, but the name recognition at the least. But that's Keyshawn. Real quick, George Kambosos, majority decision over Maxie Hughes. This was I'm not even going to mention it. There was no real title on the line. This was an IBF eliminator. So they were talking about on the broadcast that Devin Haney is likely to move up. I believe they're pursuing Regis Prograis. So
Okay.
the IBF could be free relatively soon.
So, do you guys think it was like a robbery, or was it closer than it seemed?
I would say closer than it seemed. I'm not going to say robbery because I'm trying to take the power back for that word. I would say it's a decision that I didn't agree with.
This was a terrible fight either way. Like, I don't know if...
yeah, for sure.
I don't know if this was a fight you could say either guy deserved to win. Like, genuine. I didn't feel that anyway when I watched it.
Yeah, I was going to say it was more towards a draw. I wouldn't say a robbery either because it wasn't that wide of a margin.
No,
I mean,
it
granted,
wasn't.
the cards say otherwise, but like Kyle was saying before, Maxie Hughes did look better, but as we all know, if you're gonna fight, like I guess an ex-champion, the home fighter, ex-champion, whatever, you gotta win like convincingly. Like you can sit back and hit all the clean counters you can, but it's not gonna do enough. Like Kambosos was getting rocked, sure, but he also got some hits in there. He set the pace. It just seemed like Maxie Hughes was just waiting for the counters all night and just wasn't that active in my opinion. If he let his hands go more, I think he would have pulled the decision.
Yeah, I think he
or
would
at least a draw. But I just don't think when you're fighting the hometown hero, an ex-champ, whatever, you gotta do more than just sit back and wait for counters. You gotta be active.
Something fun after the fight was Kambosos goes up to Shakur, starts trying to talk that shit, and didn't go very well for him. I think Shakur, being from New Jersey, Trenton, I think it is. Newark, that's right. I'm sorry. Sorry, Shakur.
Brick City.
Yeah. You're not going to, like, outwit in a shit-talking match a guy from Newark.
No, definitely not.
It's not happening. I have tried. It did not work. I consider myself, like, pretty eloquent, savvy with words, but fuck. Like, I just got torched. So he was talking shit. Kambosos was talking about, like, we're going to make a great fight. It'll be a good one. Like, this is a fight you want to take because it's going to be really exciting for the fans. And then Shakur's like, I will beat the shit out of you. I'm like, all right. Thanks, Shakur, because I really hope you do. Anything more on Kambosos?
Probably going to just be like a low-level tier champ.
Wait a second. Did we talk about Frank Martin?
Oh no, we skipped them.
Yeah,
we did skip Frank Martin.
Yeah, sorry, Frank. All right, so let me just get this note in here. At the Chumash Casino in California, this was a 360 Promotions. Tom Loeffler, if you remember that name, the manager at K2. Oh shit.
Unbelievable.
Party fucking foul. Sergio Bahachuk gets a KO1. This has been his like top fighter for a long time. I remember pre-pandemic getting some press creds for photographers and stuff to go to his events, and he's still in this not even B tier of promotions. So I don't know. Is this this, and he's coming up in 154? Probably not going to amount to a whole lot. Not at this point anyway, with the division as it is. So let's get to Spence's protege's card. Really quick, Elvis Rodriguez gets the stoppage in 7 over Victor Postol at 140. Elvis Rodriguez recently came over from Top Rank to PBC. Compared to how he was with with Antoine Russell, that was bullshit. This one, there's a little bit more of a case you can make for the stoppage to be legit. Just my take, but I still don't expect a whole lot out of Elvis Rodriguez.
Not yet, at least.
No. Spence's protege, Man Down Promotions star fighter Frank Martin. He is ranked 5th in the WBC. Gets the UD over Artem Harutyunyan, who's ranked 8th. So this was in one of those eliminators. I think he might be at the top. I think he would be the first mandatory defense for the winner of the vacant, which is looking like it's going to be Lomachenko and Shakur. But Frank Martin gets the UD. It was pretty lopsided, right?
I would say so. I feel like Artem was getting some good hits on him.
Yeah,
I was kind of surprised. I was kind of surprised. I was like, I mean, granted, Artem is pretty good though. It looked like he was pretty solid. I just didn't think Frank Martin was going to get hit that much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Artem. I expect that they're gonna keep him on the payroll because he gave a really good account of himself. Even if they just keep bringing him on as a B-side, shout out.
And wasn't Artem a bronze medalist? I'm not mistaken.
He was a decorated amateur, so there's that.
Overall, it was a good fight. I just was taken back a little bit. I didn't think it would go that way. Like, I expected Frank to win. I just didn't think he would get tagged as often.
Is it that Frank underperformed, or that Artem overperformed, or was underrated coming into it?
I think part of it is that Frank may be a little bit of a victim of his own hype. You know, we already kind of know, like, he beat the brakes off of, what was his name? The other prospect.
Michel Rivera.
And he's, this is Spence's protege and all that. And so people are starting to expect him to just dust anyone that they don't recognize the name of. It's the same thing with Jaron Ennis, where it's like he goes to the decision once, and then it's like, oh, well, this is a step back. And it's like, well, not really. I mean, it's pro boxing. He won. And he still won most, a significant portion of the rounds. He wasn't in trouble. Maybe he took a couple more hits, but you're allowed that if you're still winning by unanimous decision. I'm not going to hold that against you.
Yeah, that's a good assessment.
Yeah, I would say it's a mix of buying his own hype along with Artem just being better than we expected, honestly.
Yeah, that's why I say he's probably going to stay on the payroll. That dude that Luis Neri fought on his most recent televised card, and he put on a pretty good show. So I expect him, like him, they're going to keep him on. I think that's it for recaps. So let's get to the meat of why you're all here. On April 29th at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada, we have the first ever undisputed welterweight championship in the 4-belt era. We have Errol Spence, the 3-belt champ, versus Terence Crawford, the 1-belt champ. Errol Spence is coming in at 28-0, undefeated with 22 knockouts. He won the IBF title off of Kell Brook on May 27th of 2017 in Sheffield. Brook won that title off of Sean Porter and had 3 successful defenses coming into that fight. Errol Spence went on to defend his belt 3 times against Lamont Peterson, Carlos Ocampo, Mikey Garcia, and after that he unified with Sean Porter, who had won the vacant WBC title off of Danny Garcia and had successfully defended against Yordenis Ugas. After that, Errol Spence took on Danny Garcia himself, and then he unified the IBF and WBC titles with Yordenis Ugas, who held the WBA title that he had recently won off Manny Pacquiao. Now, as for Terence Crawford, he's coming in at 39-0. He won the WBO lightweight title off Ricky Burns on March 1st of 2014, and he had 2 successful defenses of that title against Yuriorkis Gamboa and Ray Beltran. He moved up, won the vacant WBO 140 title against Thomas Delorme, April 18th, 2015, and he successfully defended that twice against Thierry Jean and Hank Lundy. He unified his 140 title with Victor Postol, who held the WBC. That was in July of 2016, and he defended those 2 successfully against John Molina and Felix Diaz. He went on to have the undisputed fight with Julius Ndongo, August 19th, 2017. Ndongo had taken the IBF belt off of Troyanovsky, WBA off Ricky Burns, and gave both of those up to Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford moved up after that, won the WBO title from Jeff Horn in June of 2018, Jeff Horn having had that questionable decision against Manny Pacquiao in Australia. And Terence Crawford successfully defended the WBO 6 times, coming into this his 7th. Wow. What a pair of resumes. The one we've all been waiting for. Holy Fuck, it's finally here. Oh my goodness. I'm getting excited just thinking about it, just talking about it. Errol Spence versus Terence Crawford for the undisputed welterweight championship of the world. Whew. Now, just as a little bit of a teaser, we're going to go bottom up here. Jesus Ramos, Sergio Garcia got canceled. That was a WBC eliminator at 154. They were ranked 3rd and 7th respectively. But we do have instead Nonito Donaire ranked 1st and Alejandro Santiago ranked 3rd. This is a WBC vacant title fight at bantamweight. And Isaac Cruz ranked 5th and Giovanni Cabrera ranked 11th. Those are their rankings in WBC, but this fight is a WBA and WBC eliminator. So let's get Nonito out of the way real quick. Nathan, so Rachel approved this fight. What do you think?
For his sake, I hope he wins. It is one of the weirdest arrangements in boxing where the wife is choosing the husband's fights, but then is also in the corner next to the trainer. I don't understand why.
She's his strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, I think Mercito Gesta, the other Filipino fighter, he's also in their camp.
Weird. Well, for his sake, for his home life, I do hope that he wins this, and I think he will.
Sleep on the couch, bitch. You fucking lost.
Yeah. He's demolished everyone not named Inoue, and I don't think that's going to change against Santiago on Saturday. I think he's going to knock him out.
I'm glad to see Donaire still doing it, because he, as he proved with the Donaire fights, the Donaire fight, the first one, like, he's still got something there, and maybe if Rachel Donaire's guiding him really well, then he'll continue to be successful. Drip, anything on Donaire?
Not much. I honestly haven't really followed his career all that much, fortunately.
Oh, man, that was a fun ride as he was climbing up, sparking fucking everyone. Darchinian.
Even the recent stuff. I'm sorry, go ahead, Leo.
Darchinian was like where he really broke out, and then he met a guy named Guillermo Rigondeaux. So there's that. But then, Nathan, the recent stuff, if you could, please.
Yes, so he goes out, and when he should be over the hill and too old, he takes it to Naoya Inoue, and what is still his hardest fight to date. In my opinion, it's an all-time classic. It's a great fight. And then off of that loss, he goes and obliterates Ubali and what was the other guy's name? He obliterates 2 other contenders in his division. He doesn't even make it look close. Like, knocks him out in incredible fashion. He loses horribly in the second Inoue fight. Let's talk less about that. But that brings us to today. And I would expect this fight to be very exciting. This is a great starter for this card.
Yeah. Very... Donaire's fun. He's proven that he's still a fun fighter, so definitely looking forward to him. Speaking of fun fighters, Isaac Cruz. I am not familiar with Giovanni Cabrera, to be honest with you, but what we know of Isaac, the Pitbull, I'm honestly expecting a mauling. Cruz is really angling for that rematch with Tank, so I don't think he's going to drop the ball here. What do you guys think?
I would say, domination, but kind of how we talked before, that is Cruz kind of shooting himself in the foot, waiting around for this Tank rematch fight?
Yes. Like the way that Amir Khan did, waiting around for the Mayweather fight.
Like, so now he's fighting, again, I'll be honest, I have no idea who the fuck Giovanni is. I just expect Isaac Cruz to knock his head off. But it's like, after that, is he expecting the Tank rematch, or is he going to wait around a few more months and just not do anything? Like, I just don't think he has a career game plan set in stone aside from just eyeballing Tank the whole time.
There are a lot of other great fights that he could make.
He could make, but does he want to is the question.
Well, Tank is both. Tank is the hardest fight, it's the highest paying fight, and it's a fight that's like, you could sell it, right? Like, you could actually make, like, sure, you lost to Tank, but it was a lot closer than expected. It was really fun, and there's been like this rivalry that's developed. So he can, like, you know, make the excuse in his mind for waiting for Tank. But like you guys said, like, don't wait too long. Like eventually one of these no names, hopefully it's not Cabrera, but it could be Cabrera, is going to come out and take your ranking from you.
He's going to catch you looking too far ahead and overlooking them.
I will say that he's had a good track record on Errol Spence cards. I'm pretty sure he last fought on the Spence Ugas card.
Yeah.
And that was a domination.
After that show he put on with Broken Handed Tank, I think Uncle Al really recognized that he had something fun that he could work with. Which is good. Good for Isak. He was talking about his home life before, and it's a pretty grim story. So, good for him. I'm really glad for him. That adds a lot to his appeal. That rags to riches kind of thing. The meat of the dish, Errol Spence. I have it tagged here because on the last episode of Ultimate Casuals, Nathan and I, we're riding with we're on Team Spence.
Yes, sir.
We're riding the train, and so that's our pick for the undisputed fight, Terence Crawford. Okay, let's do some devil's advocate here. Drip, what do you think would be Crawford's best path to success against Errol Spence?
Ooh, I don't know, dude. Like, I was trying to think about that earlier, and I just honestly don't know because it's too, like I was saying before, it's such a toss-up. It could go either way. So I really don't know what Crawford could really do. So they both fight. I don't want to say similarly, but I would say just make it a hard fight for Spence by getting inside and just ripping the body at first. But then again, that's so much easier said than done. To
try to give you maybe to prod you in a direction, any direction. The way that I framed it on UF Cash was that Spence is a very like his style is come forward, pressure and aggression, but it is predicated on intelligence, boxing IQ, versus Terence Crawford, who is a high IQ fighter who makes his punch selection and placement with aggressive tendencies. It's kind of a subtle difference. Yeah, exactly. The accuracy is a very important part of that. So it's a bit of a subtle difference. But does that change your way of thinking at all?
Honestly, not too sure. Now, when you put it that way, I gotta rethink my whole scenario now. So I can tell you one thing. I honestly don't think this fight's gonna end in like a KO on either side. I don't know why I almost said KO, but a KO on either side. I think it's gonna go all 12 rounds. Just by judging how they both fight, I don't see a knockout incoming.
Nathan, you said when we were talking on Ultimate Casual about if it were a stoppage, you think it would be Crawford's. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, there's a couple things. One, there's mentality. I think Spence is the kind of guy that he's going to start fast and he's going to slowly keep putting his foot down on the gas there. He's going to want to wear you out over the course of time. And if a knockout comes, it comes. Mm-hmm. But Crawford, on the other hand, from the moment the first bell sounds, he's looking to figure you out. How do I land this one big counter shot? Or what is something I can do that's going to disrupt your style and give me an advantage? And so it's a small difference. Like, both guys have got plenty of stoppages, but Crawford's side, he is specifically looking to take your head off or sneak in a body shot or do something that's going to hurt you. And he's done that to great success in every division he's fought in.
Porter's, I would say, the best example, just when we want to cross-compare.
Absolutely. And, that Porter fight's a great example because there's a lot of adversity there. I mean,
For
Porter
sure.
was dogging him in some rounds, and he still came out and very calmly and smoothly delivered that counter. And if he catches Spence like that, and there's like 2 minutes left in the round, that's deep water for Spence. Like, you better hope you're as good at swimming as you say you are.
The big fish, bro. I was gonna say, during the Porter fight, weren't they saying towards it, like in the later rounds, that Crawford was down on the rounds technically, and that's when he came out with the KO?
Yeah, I had him down up to round 5. 6 was kind of swingish, if I'm not mistaken, and then it was just a sweep. So, like, it was at least 5 rounds to Porter. But that was to use the everybody's favorite term, downloading. That's what Crawford was doing, though. That's exactly what he was doing, was figuring out what Porter's doing, what is he doing that creates an opening for me.
So with that being said now, do you think Spence is going to take the early rounds just based off his style? Or is it just going to be a very slow first few swing rounds out of both of them?
I think the first 1, maybe 2, will be feel out.
Mm-hmm.
After that, I think with Crawford sort of on the back foot, in himself still trying to figure out how he's gonna play the game with Spence. Spence is going to press the issue, and his aggression will definitely take him through, I want to say, up to round 6 before Crawford starts really turning it on. And then we're going to really see what both guys are made of. Still riding with Spence.
Yeah, still Team Spence, 100%. It's just, as we were saying before, I mean, you could fucking flip a coin, and either answer could be right.
If Spence loses, I'm bummed that the guy I was hoping would win didn't. But at the same time, I'm not upset because Terence Crawford is extremely talented. So what's the problem here? I don't see a problem.
I think at the end of the day, the fans win regardless.
Absolutely.
I did have one idea pop into my head. If the feel-out rounds last longer than a round or two, say they go like 4 rounds, that would actually be a really good advantage for Crawford because
you're right.
Spence he comes out and rips the body in round 1. Like he makes it a point to punish you to the body, and I think that's why his style works so well in the later rounds.
Yeah, he sets the tempo, and this is what you're gonna get every round that you're in the ring with me.
But if there's any hesitancy to that strategy, I've never seen Spence hesitant to pull the trigger, but even in the back of my mind, I'm thinking about the eye injury, and I'm thinking about the car wrecks. Well, if he does what he's done the rest of his career, this shouldn't be a problem, but now I'm sort of thinking, is there a chance that we see him take a little bit longer to get going? And if that does happen, I think this fight could go a lot differently than maybe we're thinking. Maybe it becomes a bit more of a war in the later rounds.
Oh, please.
Or in the middle rounds. If Spence finds himself down on the cards when we get to round 6 or 7, maybe he really has to be forced to change something.
Stop. My penis can only get so erect.
That would be Spence putting the pedal to the metal.
Yes.
In Crawford's best territory, which is the latter half of the fight.
In the pocket where he counters.
Mm-hmm.
And Spence has to press the issue there. Oh man, that would be unbelievable.
So that brings me to a fun question. Since we're all Team Spence, of course, if we were Spence's coach, what's the one thing we'd be telling him to focus on for this fight?
Body work. Because Crawford, as he starts figuring out what he wants to do, he is going to be more mobile. Take that away from him early.
I think that, and I would also really emphasize the jab. He has to establish his jab early, because with counterpuncher heavy guys, that is like the one punch it's like the most it's like almost impossible to counter a sharp jab. Like it's gonna land. It's gonna force you to move, right? So if he can establish that early, that's another big win in his pocket.
Definitely.
I was gonna say, because Crawford is so mobile, maybe not so much in the beginning, but I would say start aggressive and cut off the ring instantly. And I feel like that might throw off the Crawford's game plan, but just speculation, of course.
Oh man, I'm really excited for this. So yeah, it's another three pick for Spence.
Are you guys throwing bets down at all? Or?
No, I'm not gonna say this ever on UF Cash, but
I thank you, David,
I have
for
a
your
$20
continued
bet
service.
with Keith over on
I
Discord.
thank each and every one of you for your time and patience with us today.
Start taking some bets on Discord too. So whoever's on Team Crawford.
There's not very many, but I could get you a list.
Pontius Pilate.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
I'm gonna reach out to all of them individually and make a bet.
Just go to betting slips and say, how confident are you?
Who wants to pay me on Saturday night or I guess Sunday morning?
Goodness. Anything more on Spence Crawford?
Team Spence, big fish, man down, strap season. You know
Smoking that bud. We be
We're gonna have crawfish boil.
Crawfish
Dude,
boil.
When Spence wins, I'm buying a fucking strap season shirt. I don't care.
I'm cutting that out. We don't need to hear me having fucking dementia. Okay, so a little bit of housekeeping as we head out. In the voice-over outro, my homegirl Heidi says LVX Entertainment. If you go to that, it'll redirect you to LVX Media. Either one works. Yeah, I'm just not paying for her to re-say it because that's not cheap. She's a prestigious name in her industry, so I'm not fucking paying that again. Site revamp. I've been tweaking the layout a bit, so that's kind of fun. Just go have a look, lvxmedia.net, and phone number 833-589-7637. You can text, call, WhatsApp, whatever the fuck you feel like. You can reach out on there. And tell me how much you love Bud so that I can tell you that I'm going to have a crawfish boil in your honor. All right, so parting words.
Fuck Tyson Fury.
Fuck Tyson Fury.
Get it back Tuesdays every single day. Strap season, baby.
Strap season, man down. Big fish. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me on this Thursday. And yeah, we will see you on the other side of Spence-Crawford.
Thanks for listening to this episode of our podcast. If you have any questions or comments on what was discussed or have a topic you'd like to hear on the podcast, you can leave a message on our unattended phone line at 833-589-7637. That's 833-LUX-PODS. For more shows like the one you just listened to, go to lvxentertainment.net.